What's up everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Are you looking to make some extra cash for woodworking? Today I'm building beautiful and profitable cedar planters using 2 cedar fence pickets and some reclaimed 2x6s. It's a very easy build with a low cost, and it's a great seller at all the markets and online outlets. So let's jump into the video. I start by ripping down some reclaimed 2x6s to 1.5 by 1.5. If you don't have 2x6s, 2x4s are also a good source for these, or whatever you might have laying around the shop that can be cut to the correct size. On the miter saw, I cut the lengths for the frame using 15-degree angles at each end. I'll be sure to put a cut list in the description so you can easily build these for yourself. Moving forward, you should have 4 legs and 2 bars for the frame and 2 cross pieces to mount them together and support the box. Now with my pocket hole jig, I put a hole at each end of every piece. The frame I'll be using 2.5 inch screws and a 1.25 inch screw on the box supports. Using Tight Bind 3, I clamp one of the legs to my table and secure the pieces together with pocket hole screws, repeating the same process on the other end and on the other side of the frame as well. Now with the box supports, I measure down 3 inches from the top of the frame and make a mark on all 4 legs. Then I secure them in place with wood glue and a 1.25 inch pocket screw. After attaching one to each leg, I flip the piece over and attach it to the other side of the frame. It's a little tight space, so I just add an extra extension to my driver bit. Now with the frame complete, let's move over to the miter saw and cut out the pieces for the box. You'll need 2 sides 18.25 by 5.5, 2 ends 4.25 by 5.5, and the bottom is 17 by 4.25. On the bottom board, I mark center and I measure 2.5 inches from the ends and 1 inch from each side for the drain holes. This will ensure the holes are not on top of the box supports. I use a small drill bit to make a pilot hole at each mark, and then I enlarge them using a 1/2 inch drill bit. Now with all of the prep work completed, I start doing the assembly using Tight Bind 3 and an 1.25 inch brad nails. It's a pretty easy process that can also be done using nails or screws. If you use screws, I highly recommend drilling a pilot hole first. Cedar is a soft wood and it will easily split on you, causing damage, and it will ruin your entire project. With the sides complete, I just test fit the bottom to make sure the box is still in square and there's no issues there. And then using same wood glue and brad nails, I attach it in place. I don't really have a set amount of brad nails that I use, but I think I put 1 or 2 at each end and around 3 to 4 on each side, just for extra support. Now with an orbital sander, I give it a few passes here and there just to knock off the rough edges. Now I cut a piece of screen 17 by 4.25 inches, and I use a stapler just to hold it in place, and I make sure to put several staples around each drain hole to keep dirt and other debris from washing out. Back on the table saw, I rip a couple pieces 1 inch wide for my top trim. Now back on the miter saw, I mark 2 pieces 4.25 and cut 45 angles at both ends, and then 2 pieces 17 inches and repeat the process with 45-degree angles at both ends. Now if you're a tip-to-tip type person, the long pieces are 19.25 tip to tip and the shorts are 6.25 tip to tip. Now back on the table, I use Tight Bind 3 wood glue here as well, and just put some on each end of the short pieces, and then just put the long pieces up to it. Then I take out some duct tape and put it at each joint just to hold it together long enough for me to get it to sit on top of the planter box. I run a bead of glue around the top edge of the box and then carefully set the trim on top. If you cut it correctly, the inside of the trim should be flush with the inside of the box. Now I just secure it in place with 1.25 inch brad nails. At each corner, I remove the tape and I put a nail on each side at each end of the trim pieces, just so later when they dry out some in sunlight, they don't cause a big gap. Now at customer request, I painted the frames black and just clear coated the boxes. This planter is compact, stylish, and perfect for patios, balconies, and garden spaces. Customers love the natural cedar look, and because it's made from low-cost material, your profit margin is solid. Thank you so much for watching this video. Your support is greatly appreciated. Please remember to hit that like and subscribe button on your way out, and I'll see you on the next one.